Here on BBC One, we roll out the red tape for an adaptation of Keith Waterhouse's comedy of bungling bureaucracy, starring Dinsdale, Landen, Jenny Agutter and Roy Kinnear in This Office Life.
How I came to own all this? A good question.
Well, that's what my editor thought.
You're not going to believe the answer.
Try me.
Let me take you down the garden path, It's hard to know where to begin, really.
Well, why not at the beginning?
There's the beginning.
What, that white building?
No. To the right. Now, down a bit. British Albion Limited.
Hello, who's dead?
British Albion Limited. To all intents and purposes.
Redundant. Thrown on the scrap heap at 42 at the peak of my profession. It seemed as if 26 years of filing and invoice processing experience had gone for nothing. Oh, what a waste. But I'm a resourceful sort of chap, and after a casual visit to the job centre, I found myself dispatched to British Albion House, where it seemed a new set of doors were about to open for me.
Name?
Grice. Clement Grice.
For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us, and so say all of us, and so say all of us. For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us.
Norman Ferrier.
Norman. Thank you all very much indeed. Oh. Am I fast or are you slow? And thank you for this very handsome reminder that if I don't get out of here soon, I shall miss the 5:47 to Woking.
He can't go yet. What about his surprise?
Well, don't ask me, love. There must have been a cock-up.
Now, this office furniture company, Desco Desks Limited,
It was a departure for you, wasn't it?
I was made redundant. They very kindly presented me with this clock.
The firm was a departure. After your years in insurance and building societies and so on, why did you switch to a manufacturing company?
Well, I couldn't get into local government. It was in the bag. I knew I'd made a good impression. Of course, it was not quite the position of assistant chief accountant my mother had once thought I'd achieve, but it seemed pleasant enough. There was just one thing troubling me, but I was hanged if I could think what it was.
Snap.
Shut. You have precisely 32 minutes to catch your 5:47 to Woking.
I'll just make it.
Whereas I've only got 18 minutes to my 5:33. It's impossible. It'll have to be the 5:52. That gives me half an hour and 7 minutes.
I can see you don't need a pocket calculator. Did you get your job?
Oh, it's difficult to say. I mean, she has to take up references, of course, but, well, I think I have the right experience.
At what?
Why? Filing, invoice processing, whatever has to be filed and invoiced.
And what's that?
Do you know, blessed if I didn't forget to ask.
Don't worry. You've got the job all right. Good night.
Now, I'm an observant man. I keep my eyes and ears open. There isn't much I miss, believe you me. An intriguing specimen, our Mr. Ferrier. The 5:47 from Waterloo, eh? Yet here he was at 5:25, heading in completely the opposite direction. Hello, I thought. What have we here? What secret assignation? What crafty dalliance? Like Sherlock Holmes, I have never been able to resist the challenge of an unsolved mystery. So, bearing in mind that I'd missed my 5:33, I determined to find out what he was up to.
Gorillagram, he says he's effecting deliverance of Douglas. You've got a gorillagram appointment down there?
Gorillagram. Oh, yes. Contact Mr. Ferrier, Stationery Supplies. 1700 hours he should have been here.
Ah, Pa now, nearly. He'll be on his merry way to Woking by now.
What the blue blazes was going on? Peculiar rendezvous for a sexual liaison, one would have thought. Perhaps it was a case of beggars can't be choosers. Or had I stumbled upon some other form of illicit activity? On the other hand, I'd already missed the 5:33 and the 5:52. Blowed if I was going to miss the 6:18.
Goodness. Look at the time.
References acceptable.
No go, Douglas.
Okay, Edgar.
Well, let's see who's dead then. General Sir Frederick Hugo Marchmont, MP, GCB, CBE, MC, DSO and Bart.
You'll do. Ah, well, back to the old treadmill, the old grindstone, the old blood, sweat, and tears.
Mr. Grant Paynton, Mr. Grice.
Glad to have you aboard. Pleased to meet you. Morning.
Miss Pam Fors, Mr. Grice. Pamela.
Welcome to the Labour camp.
Pleased to meet you.
Mr. Henderson, Mr. Pendlebury. Known to all and sundry as Henny and Penny.
Don't worry, he'll soon be as crackers as we are.
You don't have to be mad to work here, but it does help.
Mr. Hakim, Mr. Grice.
Welcome. Perfidious Albion.
Perfidious Albion. Very good. Sure.
Mr. Seas.
Mr. Christ.
Hello.
Meet you.
Not forgetting the most illustrious member of our staff, little Thelma, who looks after us all.
Oh, would you like to give something to Charlotte in stationery stores? Only she's leaving to have a baby.
Well, Mr. Christ has never met the harlot of stationery halls.
I didn't even know Charlotte was married.
She ain't.
Let's see, Mr. Christ. Where can you sit?
Well, this would appear to be,
Don't worry, dear. You'll soon learn.
Nothing's what it seems, Randy.
First, it goes back to the store.
Then what you do?
You get a requisition form.
Then you get your debts.
I mean, most likely it's the same one that's just gone out.
But it's the procedure, see?
Yes, you know, it's the required form.
Meanwhile, Mr. Christ, I should use Widow Rashman's desk. She's in Holloway at present.
Really?
Yes. Insane.
Poor woman. Shoplifting, was it?
Come again?
The Widow Rashman. I wasn't aware they put the mentally disturbed in prison in these so-called enlightened age.
Oh, the light dawns. She's on holiday in Spain. Ah. You'll get used to Copeland's peculiar diction. The result of a loose-fitting plate and a passion for boiled sweets.
Sure.
You know, I thought when we were introduced, he said your name was Christ.
I thought yours was Seed.
It is.
Coffee-flavoured dishwater or tea-flavoured dishwater?
Oh, tasse today, s'il vous plaît, mademoiselle.
Eh?
Security.
Oh, Filthridge. We were plagued by that in my last visit.
Oh, where was that? Without being nosy.
Those legs.
Come again?
Oh, sorry, Desco desks. No, I was just saying, those legs.
Oh, the desk legs. I thought...
You didn't really think... Shut! Though the site on which you're feasting your eyes does draw attention to a design fault. No modesty panel.
Any particular reason why my ears should be burning?
Well, we were discussing your modesty panel, or lack of it.
No. I was just saying, it's only just sunk in that all these desks, sans modesty panel, are from Desco of Slough Limited, my previous billet.
Small world.
I tell you what I find rather puzzling. For my sins, I used to handle all the Desco sales invoices, and I'll swear, on a stack of Bibles, I never once invoiced British Albion.
How odd.
Finding your feet, I hope?
Oh yes, indeed. So I've been here for years.
I know the feeling. But there are bound to be one or two things strange at first. Any queries, I'd be only too pleased to set your mind at rest.
Set my mind at rest? What did he mean by that?
Oh, well, that's very kind of you, but after all said and done, I mean, one office is pretty much like another, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose it is.
The familiar grind?
Familiar desks.
Familiar sounds?
The happy clink of coffee mugs? The photocopier churning out its daily ration of bump? The merry clack of typewriters assiduously at work? The low buzz of voices as colleagues confer with one another? The 101 little sounds that go to make up the incessant, unmistakable background roar of the office jungle. Yet I knew there was one familiar sound missing. At lunchtime, we gave the canteen the Big E and dined al fresco in the park. An opportunity, I thought, to learn something of the extramural activities.
The Albion Players, did I see a poster for?
The membership's closed.
Not entirely.
Methinks I read something about chorus auditions for the panto, was it?
That's women.
Not necessarily.
Pam, the membership is closed.
Of course, I don't want to push.
You know the rules as well as I do, Pamela. All approaches are made only after full consultation with the full committee.
I'm sorry, Ron, but there is such a thing as being constructive. If I'm not even allowed to sound out someone who seems like an eminently suitable candidate, you might as well shut up shop.
I'm only trying to remind you, Pamela, that there's such a thing as procedure. As I'm sure you'll be the first to appreciate.
Oh, indeed. Oh, yes. I go by the book every time.
At the end of my first day, I had a sneaking suspicion that not everyone at British Albion was going by the book. It was a funny sort of billet. There was more going on there than met the eye. Still, you get no thanks for playing sleuth, and besides, Mr. S. Holmes didn't have a 5:33 to catch.
Hello. There's no one dead.
My dear old Aunt Claire, God rest her soul.
Ah.
She'd have been 115 if she'd lived.
Finding one's way around such a large billet was, quite frankly, like living on an aircraft carrier. There were 101 things to learn. What day were the hand towels changed? When did Thelma expect one to poppy up one's coffee money? What were the arrangements for paying salaries? How many in-house luncheon vouchers were on offer per person, per day? And, of course, on top of all this, I was expected to earn my keep.
Mr. Copeland thought you might like some help.
Very kind of you. 5 down. I believe it's an anagram.
If you don't mind, it's us two that's overworked here.
Yeah, we've got to get these processed tomorrow, and we're going on holiday on Friday.
All right, Sam. Where are you going? Anywhere nice?
Taunton with my mum.
Rimini. With my mum.
Still, it's only once a year, isn't it?
So if you could give us a hand, we would be most grateful.
It's what we call re-requisitioning.
Every department has to have a form. It drives you mad.
And this is what they've requisitioned from us.
And, everything marked with a red tick is either obsolete
or obsolescent, so we want it back.
Internal Post, 50,000 airmail envelopes.
Over-ordered, didn't they?
So, do you think you got the hang of it?
They had a saying in my last billet, for bump in a trice, sem for Clement Grice.
Smashing.
And so this office life rolled on. Henny and Penny went on holiday, the widow Rashman returned from hers, and then suddenly it was all happening.
This is awfully nice, Mrs. Rashman. Just the thing for evening wear.
What's she going to do then? Wear it in bed?
I shall save this for a special occasion. You spoil us, Mrs. Rashman. You really do.
Oh, think nothing of it, dear. What I mean is that at less than 60p a bottle, I wasn't diddled, was I?
Curious?
Oh, sure it is now, Mr. Christ.
Well, not curious exactly. It's more of a coincidence. You see, this is exactly the same wine that I buy at my local off-licence.
Yes, well, it's only plonked here. It's not as if I was trying to pass it off as vintage.
My dear madam, I wasn't suggesting...
Do you want to give something for Mrs. Culpepper in salary accounts? Only she's leaving to start a family.
Well, surely I only gave to Mrs. Culpepper of salary accounts last week.
Yeah. Except they just found out it's twins. Twins? Yeah. Oh.
It was shortly after that embarrassing moment that several of my colleagues took to answering questions I hadn't asked.
Yes, a holding company.
Come again?
Weren't you asking what British Albion does?
Was I?
It's the holding or parent company for several businesses scattered around the country. They expanded a good deal, diversifying.
Usual story these days.
Yes. There were printers back in the dark ages. British Albion Printing Works. Your predecessor, Norman Ferrier, worked there way back. Rationalised. Then they went all out for a reinvestment programme.
Diversification.
Takeover bids, spread your portfolio, that's the idea.
So we're a holding company, in effect.
Does that answer your question?
Mr. Grice, I expect you've been wondering why the telephones never ring. Very simple explanation. No switchboard. And the firm's ex-directory. You can make calls outwards, but not receive calls inwards. Yankee system, business efficiency. I tell you, the amount of executive time saved by not making telephone calls is unquantifiable.
Yes, I'm sure.
Does that answer your question?
Mr. Grice?
Those 50,000 airmail envelopes ordered by Internal Post does seem a bit strange, I suppose.
That's what I thought.
Slip of the pen. Wrong stock number. They meant to order sticky labels.
Ah.
With that, went your pencil, Mr. Christ?
Curiouser and curiouser.
Scratch pads A4, 8 boxes.
8 boxes, scratch pads A4.
Slips gummed, 3 cartons.
3 cartons, gum slips.
And 50,000 airmail envelopes.
Envelopes, airmail, 50,000.
All present and correct, love.
Right.
What, Thelma? Not another get-well card to sign.
No, it's from Mr. Penny in Rimini. They ain't half having a smashing time, him and his mum.
Rather him than me.
Oh, I don't know. Each one to his... Oh, very odd. Well, here's a curiosity. A postcard from Rimini with a Taunton postmark.
My little brother collects foreign stamps. They like this.
But the point is, it's not foreign.
We can do a swap. Look, I've been meaning to ask. Are you ever free for a drink on the way home?
Here we are. One more Chablis type grape juice. And I must be on my merry way home.
Wife?
Ubiquitous box. The programme I very much want to see.
You watch a lot of telly, do you?
Oh, in moderation. I can call myself a selective viewer.
And what do you do with yourself when you're not selectively viewing?
There's the question, isn't it? What is there to do? I suppose I ought to join something. Amateur dramatics, I wouldn't mind having a crack at.
The Albion Players.
Well, who knows? I might finish up playing Hamlet. To be or not to be.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah.
No, seriously, if and when we think you'll, fit in, you'll be told.
I was beginning to be mightily intrigued by these Albion Players. What bacchanalian orgies went on behind closed curtains, so to speak.
So, what do you make of the dump now that you've, settled in?
What can one say? Highly congenial.
But not overtiring.
I'd hardly accuse Perfidious Albion of running a sweatshop.
And it doesn't bother you?
Bother me?
It was a straightforward question. You must have noticed that we're not exactly, overemployed. If you were the chairman and managing director of British Albion...
Which, happily, I'm not, and never will be.
Which happily you are not, and never will be. But if you were, would you or would you not keep the whole gang of us in work? Even though there isn't any work for us to do.
Yes, I would.
Good. I don't think I'd like you if you wanted to get me fired.
Oh, worry not. Your career is in safe hands with Clement. Let's have another glass. Blow, this is your life. Umbrella?
Now, I'm not a dishonest man, but I was not feeling too well, and I'd had nothing to eat since my lunchtime sandwiches. Glucose. That was what my system craved, in the shape of one of Mr. Copeland's sweeties.
political affiliations, but is asking too many questions. Watch him.
Friend Orwell, thou shouldst be living at this hour. And so this office life jogged on. Henny and Penny returned from holiday. Hakeem went off on his. Soon, if I kept my head down and my nose clean, it would be my own turn for a few days off the treadmill. But then came what was to be called D-Day, Desk Day.
Oh, hello, Mr. Grice. Do you want to give something for Mr. Nelson in stores and maintenance? Only he's dropped a filing cabinet on his foot.
Well, what's going on, Thelma?
Well, it's reorganisation, isn't it?
Ah, Mr. Grice, you are Capricorn, aren't you? Well, don't be depressed if all avenues seem blocked today. There could be many surprises in store.
Can't turn you back for 2 minutes, can you?
No, we blame you, Mr. Grice, don't we, chaps?
You had to ask for a new desk, didn't you?
Then, of course, the application has to pass through welfare.
We'll
and then-
insist on checking that we have the correct ratio of cubic feet of office space per desk.
Which we haven't, seemingly.
Grice.
Excuse me, Sharon.
As you come through, you might just pass me my tin of Devon cream assortment of Mr. Henderson very kindly brought me back from Taunton.
Well, the point is, Mr. Copeland, there is no way through. And it would appear that the workmen have gone on their coffee break.
In that case, would you mind making yourself useful in chasing up these outstanding re-requisitions?
Especially services administration. Could you ask them why they're hanging on to 3,500 ballpoint pens?
Clement? Sharon, could you go... Sharon, could you go back and give this to Mr. Grice?
I deeply resented being Henny and Penny's office boy, though it did give me a heaven-sent excuse to have a good look around the building. I decided to start on the top floor and work my way down, keeping my eyes open at all times.
Yes?
I'm so sorry to trouble you. I'm from Stationery Supplies.
Don't you read? This is administration services. You want services administration.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Perhaps you could cross the corridor.
Piss off. Beg you. And tell Copeland from me I've 2 overworked departments to run up here, and we've got more to do than fill in his bloody forms.
But that may be true, but it would appear that you've over-requisitioned for 3,500 ballpoint pens.
We did not over-requisition. They were sent unsolicited.
An administrative error?
A cock-up.
If you only complete your re-requisition form, we could take them off your hands.
Right there. Mr. Bennett! Mr. Ackersley!
Really? I should make a written report to Mrs. Lucas.
Good. Write it with those.
Meet me at St. Catherine's Dock this afternoon at 2. Love, Pam.
Come aboard. Shoes.
Huh? Oh. My. I wasn't aware that you'd won the office raffle. Sure.
Friends in high places. The public relations department, they use it to entertain the press.
Keeping the name of perfidious Albion in the public eye?
No, keeping it out of the public eye. Make yourself at home.
Hey, yes, Pam, if I may so call you. Ooh, very pleasant indeed.
And how did you enjoy your unguided tour of Albion House this morning?
How the dickens did you know about that?
Well, you reported to security, and security reported you to me.
To you? Well, why to you? Saving your presence.
They think Ron's on their side.
Careful, Pam.
Oh, for heaven's sake, he knows. You must know by now, surely.
Well, what must I know? Precisely.
I thought you were observant. Do you mean to say you worked your way through 6 floors without realizing they're all internal departments? Internal mail, but no external mail. Invoice clearance, but no invoice dispatch. Telephones that don't ring.
You're right.
Of course I'm bloody right.
What on earth is going on?
Some of us are trying to find that out.
Us?
Hmm.
You mentioned phones that don't ring. Well, I chanced to be in the office one night when one did. Mrs. Lucas.
She liaises with one of the night cleaners.
Really?
Well, not in that way. His job is to sift through the rubbish every night, looking for evidence that we might be onto them.
We?
Are you one of us?
I? You know, I think I quite probably could be.
Is there any program that you have to rush home and watch on Friday?
Not necessarily.
Good. Oh. Then you can come and watch the Albion players.
At last, my admission to the inner sanctum. Evidently, I had passed a test. Proved that I could be trusted, that I was one of us, an Albion player.
Has this been ratified?
I believe so.
Number 302, Douglas, is the notification of ratification.
What? You remember, is he?
picture yonder.
My eyes are not what they were, Prince Charming. Surely...
A dress rehearsal for Cinderella in August? What was I letting myself in for? Well, so long as I didn't end up in the Sunday papers, I couldn't care less.
Oh, yes, he does.
Oh, no, he doesn't. Baron Hardup, she's simply enchanting. I really must dance with her. I'm positively panting.
Oh, come back. Prince Charming doesn't want to dance with an old haddock like you.
Of course he wants to dance with an old haddock like me.
Of course he doesn't. He wants to dance with a young haddock like me. Doesn't he, children?
Oh, no, he doesn't.
All right, Diamond Lil, I'll tell you what we'll do. First, all the boys and girls on my side of the hall will sing I'll Be Your Sweetheart. And then all the boys and girls on your side will sing Maybe It's Because I'm a Londoner. And whoever side sings the loudest gets to dance with the prince.
I'm game.
I don't know about that. You sure are gamey. Bandini? Take it away, darling. I'll be your sweetheart.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, Miss.
Thank you, Eric. I won't offer you a lift to your bus stop. I'm going the other way.
And now the nosy carcass are departed, the real deliberations may be started.
Our apologies for delaying you this evening, ladies and gentlemen. The usual procedure applies. That is, should we be interrupted by, shall we say, unwelcome visitors, a signal will be given and we shall at once resume our dress rehearsal. And now I shall call upon the secretary to read the minutes of the last meeting.
That rubbish now. Good evening. Minutes of a meeting of the British Albion Investigation Committee, known as the Albion Players, on the 15th of last month. There was general discussion about the company's function, the consensus being reached that British Albion was probably a government or quasi-government agency. Its elaborately organised structure being the module for some unspecified future role.
True record? No matters arising? I call upon the membership secretary.
First, I am delighted at long last to be able to welcome a new member to the Albion Players, Clement Grice. As he probably knows, I've wanted him for some time. But as always, we had to be sure he was one of us and not one of them. Next, I'd like to thank Mr. Seaves for all he's been doing.
Here, here.
I have Ron Seaves' report. He's investigated all 15 of British Albion's subsidiary companies and established beyond doubt that none of them is any longer trading.
So British Albion being a so-called holding company is just a blind.
Oh, she's quick. Doesn't miss a trick, that one.
Mr. Chairman, the company has recently issued these in-house luncheon vouchers intended to encourage us to use the canteen.
I'd like to know why they're printed in Belgium.
Because we closed down Albion Printeries 5 years ago.
But supposing the welfare department is engaged in a pilot study for the mass feeding of the civilian population in case of war or a private.
Poppycock! My belief is that we are there to collate mortality statistics in the event of a nuclear disaster.
Computer backfire on all UK citizens.
Compulsory registration of immigrants.
Mr. Chairman!
Mr. Grice.
On a point of information, Mr. Chairman, there's someone listening in the balcony.
Meeting adjourned till Sunday. Oh, because it's on this stage. I feel like a size 15 blancmange in a size 10 fortune bag. Still, it's all in a good cause, isn't it, boys and girls? Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, there you are.
So I am.
Oh, you were very good.
Well, have you seen enough to form an impression?
Oh, most favourable, thank you indeed.
Now, I want you to do something for me.
A fellow Albion player, just say a word.
If you find out anything about British Albion, anything at all, I want you to come to me first.
Oh, most certainly. At the double.
Biscuit barrel, 3 times winner of the Grand National.
He'll do.
Good Lord above.
The safety officer, wasn't it? He's had everything moved down to the stores.
Apparently, where the workmen stacked it, it was blocking the fire exit.
Where is the safety officer's pad of handing over dockets, Mr. Grice?
You see, without the handing over dockets duly signed...
There's nothing to say that furniture's ours.
And we're going to have a hell of a job getting it back from the stores.
We know what they're like of old.
Oh, they're evil.
Perhaps you'd be so good as to pop down to stores and sort the matter out, Mr. Grice. There's a good chap.
Meanwhile, I see no point in standing about here like a spare fart. Anybody wants Miss Elmer? I've got ancient flu.
Are you in possession of a chitty?
A docket? Alas, no.
Not a docket, a chitty. Authorising you to be down here.
I'm afraid not. You see, I'm chasing up our office furniture.
Before you chase anything up whatsoever, we must have sight of a chitty.
Signaturised by your head of department.
And having presented my chitty, can I then seek out my furniture?
No. You need a docket for that.
Signaturised by the store's manager.
Thank you very much.
Alma, I trust and hope you are in possession of a chitty to be down here.
Huh? Only Mr. Grant Paynton sent me down to make some coffee.
In the basement?
You'll see all the mugs are in the filing cabinet.
Can you recognise it?
I can when I see it. It's got a dent in it.
nourishment, but seeds said it had been pulled down. A certain femme fatale shall have sight of this.
Just what are you on, Mr. Grice?
Would you like to give something to Mr. Copeland? Only he's had to go home with Asian flu.
Well,
I can't be sure.
half an hour ago you were positive.
We must admit, there's a resemblance.
Yes. It has walls and windows. If you want to know where I think British Albion Works is, we're probably standing on it. I'm going home.
But Pam!
Methinks a good spring clean would not go amiss.
No use trying that. It's locked. New handle.
So it is. Very observant.
Have you, told anyone else about this place?
Not yet.
Then don't.
But what about the Albion players?
Sod the Albion players.
No! They have the right to be told, Pamela.
And you have the right to tell them. And I'm sure you'll do it very beautifully, but not yet. Not until we've found out what all this is about.
But we're supposed to pool all our knowledge.
Not with those that we can't necessarily trust. Besides, what's wrong with keeping this little hideaway to ourselves for a while? What we need is a good bunch of skeleton keys.
What we need is a mattress.
What's that?
Master Ferrier's clock, evidently. It certainly keeps better time than mine.
I must go. My mother. I have to cook lunch.
But Pam,
It's early.
She has a very slow oven.
Umbrella.
Come along in, Mr. Gryce. We've been waiting for you. You may find something to your advantage, Mr. Gryce. Just push the door. No, the other side.
That's right, Mr. Gryce. Come up. Oh, say something, dear.
Even if it's only hello.
Welcome. Oh, to British Albion Works, old chap.
Isn't she a beauty? Hmm?
Where did you get it?
I found it.
But that's absurd.
It's true. The whole kit and caboodle. I happened to potter down here one lunchtime to have a pint in one of my old pubs. And here the old place was, still standing. I ambled in and found the entire plant intact. Covered in muck and plaster, of course.
You can say that again.
Apparently the idea was to sell it for scrap, but that got lost in the books and they forgot all about it.
Civil service all over.
And now every scrap of paper to do with British Albion Works is locked in big buff folders in the barrels of British Albion House.
I'm sure we took the place over. Well, won't shake hands, Mr. Christ.
Mr. Copeland, you're the head of a department.
We have no heads of department here, Mr. Gryce. We're all mucking together.
But you can't hijack a factory.
Just like that.
Why not? Just follow me to the office.
They're linking us up.
They're linking us up to the street lamp supply. Then we'll be all ready for work.
Quite a home from home, dear, isn't it?
Widow Rashford.
Coffee-flavoured dishwater or tea-flavoured dishwater?
Thelma. But this is the office furniture.
He's not wrong.
You've got eyes like a lynx.
You had me running around like a blue...
blue-arsed fly, dear.
Now, look. I'm not averse to taking home the odd paperclip, Mr. Ferrier. But this... I mean, do you realise? I could go to the police.
Can you imagine how I felt? A printer working as a clerk, finding all the tools of his trade lying idle in a building nobody wanted. Well, what would you have done, Mr. Grice?
Reported it, I suppose.
It's just what I did. To one or two discreetly chosen colleagues.
So I said, count me in, Norman, dear. Don't care what I do, whether it's typing or cleaning out the lab. So long as it gets me away from British bloody Albion, and that's swearing. And that's swearing.
Here, bloody here. I mean, when all's said and done, at least it's a giggle.
Yes, it's a chuckle a minute, dear.
It's better than a yacht scheme, isn't it?
The question is, Mr. Grice, how would you like to join us?
Hi, Mr. Ferrier. Why me?
Well, you've been watching us. I've been watching you. And I've got a job right up your street.
My street? My street's a cul-de-sac.
Then think about it. Does she know about us?
As much as I need to know. Isn't it time you were at your British Albion players' meeting?
Aren't you coming?
I think Pam has some business with us.
I'll be all right, Clem. Off you go. I think you'll find it interesting.
But Pam!
In the extraordinary circumstances that have arisen, we'll dispense with our usual charade. I have to announce that this will be the final winding-up meeting of the Albion players. Now, without further ado, allow me to introduce our special guest speaker.
Big sister.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Albion players, why are you all here today? What have you in common? The answer is curiosity. You began, for whatever reason, to ask questions about British Albion and its function. As a safety valve, therefore, the Albion players were born. Each of you will have been approached, adopted, if you like, by a member of the executive committee who will, in effect, have vetted you. If, in their judgment, your, shall we say, thirst for knowledge presented any threat to the security of the company, then, and only then, were you taken under the wing of the Albion players.
Is Miss Lucas telling us that the executive committee is the tool of management?
No, what I am telling you is that the executive committee is the management.
Then all my investigations have been a waste of time.
I'm afraid so.
Oh, that's the thanks you get for working in the lunch break.
You can't keep me here, you know.
I wouldn't dream of trying. We just want you to see our side.
It's not my job to see anyone's side.
Except that of your Whitehall masters.
I don't have to listen to this.
What do we do at British Albion? Now, I think that many of you, perhaps most of you, already know the answer, though you may not have wished to look it in the face. We do not do anything at British Albion. It exists to provide employment. It has no other function.
She was right. We did know it, but we didn't want to admit it.
Now, you know how our economy works. It happens to cost marginally less to keep you employed at British Albion than to keep you unemployed. But, of course, you couldn't be kept in idleness. If there was no work for British Albion to do, it had to be invented. Once that problem was faced, it was no longer a problem at all. Now, there has been some speculation about the statistical work that many of you are engaged in. The answer is, you are analysing random lists of telephone numbers. Now, I know that it is pointless and exhausting work, and if any of you can suggest anything more congenial, I shall be pleased to hear it.
How about a few treadmills?
At least it is honest toil, Mr. Ferrier. What is the moral difference between being carried as a passenger on a cargo boat and being carried as a passenger on a pleasure cruise?
Or a life raft.
I take the strongest objection to these snide remarks. British Albion may be a pleasure cruise for some, but for the workforce of administration services and services administration, it is slog, slog, slog from morning to night.
But you don't produce anything, Mr. Hatch. You are a passenger, a working passenger.
Why are you telling us all this?
Because we have a saboteur among us, haven't we, Mr. Ferrier?
I'm no saboteur. I just have a different approach. You're creating jobs to keep people in work. I'm trying to create work to keep people in jobs.
You will undermine the whole scheme with your meddling. What do you suppose the media would do to British Albion if this leaked out?
Then don't let it. I'm sure 90% of your staff wouldn't relish the place closing down in a blaze of publicity.
I'm glad you said that, Mr. Ferrier, and I hope it's understood by everyone here. Now, I said earlier that you all had one thing in common. You all have something else in common. You are all unemployable.
That's not true.
Oh, yes, all of you. I'm sorry to be brutal, but British Albion was your last chance. Now you have to decide whether you mean to throw it away. The option is yours.
No. There's another option. Some of you know that I'm not a pen pusher by trade. I'm a printer. And a few of us have acquired a printing works. It's a bit Victorian, but it'll do for a start. And we're going into business. Real business. Not just going through the motions. There are reputations and fortunes to be made. Little ones at first. But we're going to help to make them, and we intend to make them our own. Now then, who's with us?
At least it'll make a change from adding up phone numbers. I'll have a go. Why not?
Good man.
What's there to lose?
A day's work for a day's pay. Now there's a novel idea.
Any more? Oh, splendid.
You regret this, all of you.
Good man, Mr. Grice.
Me? Oh, no, no. The fact is, I've left my umbrella behind.
Anyone else?
Eric? Have you taken leave of your senses?
Now, we'll soon find some real work for you to do if you'll just give your names to the delightful Thelma here. Now, first things first, Mr. Grice's umbrella.
Where's Pan? I'll have every one of you put in prison. Every man, jack of you. And every woman, jack of you.
Very persuasive, our Norman. He thinks I have hidden talents.
Persuasive you may be, but you all seriously think you're going to get away with this?
What's to stop us?
Well, for one thing, you don't have planning permission.
Planning permission? Oh.
What could they do? They can't put us all in the dock.
That will be the day.
It'd bring the government down.
More than that, it'd bring England down. Well, Mr. Grice.
Well, Mr. Grice.
Of course, you'll never be able to print a word of it. It's probably a breach of the Official Secrets Act, apart from anything else.
I can't hush up a story like that.
I'll deny it.
It's on tape. You'll get me the sack for this?
Oh, don't worry. Your boss is a very good pal of mine.
The editor?
His boss.
Lady Farrington speaking. It's for you, dear.
Hello?
Thank you, Norman. I knew you'd understand. I'll see you at the club later.
Oh, there must be something I can write. How about the old standby? The secret of my success.
Easy. As Lord Farrington was the first to spot. I have a good head for figures. Isn't that so, dear?
Have those drinks arrived yet?
Yes, dear. They're here, dear.
About time. You're far too lax with those butlers.
Best time of day, I always say. 5:33 and all's well.